to coming through and obviously put out a show as Arsenal goes ahead to obviously parade their Premier League trophy that they won when they obviously collected the most number of points amongst all the 20 teams that he participated into what we call the Premier League season of 2025-2026. Smash like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Arsenal yesterday lost the Champions League trophy to what we call PSG. That is it. Arsenal lost the Champions League trophy to PSG. And indeed, it was not all what they wanted. I really wanted Arsenal to win the trophy. You know that? I had even called in for a 2-1 win because I knew that PSG couldn't obviously come up and really put 2 goals past Arsenal. That is it. And even in open play, so that there was no way that PSG could obviously come up and obviously score a goal through open play. And the goal came in through because of a penalty. And when you look at how this game came in through, I think it went ahead to establish how Arteta was naive at this stage. That is it. He was naive at this stage, but experience is just earned. And I think next time he gets to the Champions League final, he will obviously do the needful. And I tell you, next season, Arsenal will get to the Champions League final. I tell you. No team is going to come up and stop Arsenal. That is it, I tell you. Even if it will be PSG standing into their way, Arsenal will get into the Champions League final in there for you. But Kai Havertz came in through and really scored a very beautiful goal in the in the 6th minute of the game. You understand? He came up and obviously put out a very beautiful goal in here for you. And I tell you, it shows you the quality of Kai Havertz. He's indeed a quality player. And whoever sits down there and obviously feels like Kai Havertz is not the guy, you know, don't really think that he's not the guy. He's the real guy, and he really went ahead to put Arsenal ahead in the 6th minute. That is Kai Havertz for you. After Kai Havertz put Arsenal ahead, then Arsenal went ahead to obviously play the entire 45 minutes, and they were on top of the game. They went to halftime when Arsenal is leading, and they returned, and obviously Arsenal led until the 4th minute, where Mosquera went ahead to obviously foul Kivisha Kvaratskhelia. I've already told you that name, and I think you saw how deadly that guy is. You know, all what he needed was to understand that scoring in open play against Arsenal is going to be hard. And all he was looking for all the time was a penalty. And looks like those were the orders that the manager went ahead to give to his players, especially Desire Doe and Kivisha Kvaratskhelia. You understand? I think those are the orders that we are given to him, that you go and obviously put out a very huge shift in there for you and attack. Don't put in crosses because they are good at defending. You remember in the first half, PSG crossed the ball. They tried the line-breaking passes. Nothing could work out. And the only option they had was to look out for what we call a penalty. And indeed, they got it because Kivisha Kvaratskhelia in the entire second half, do you know what he did? Kvaratskhelia was aiming at getting into the 18 yards box area of Arsenal. And he was looking out for a penalty. And you saw to it that when he was there and he heard that Mosquera is coming, the way he loosened and calmed down, the composure was really top class and world class, and was like, all right, I'm waiting for you to obviously come and do what you're supposed to do on me. After fouling me, then I will come up and obviously beg for my penalty. And indeed, the penalty was handed over to him, and it really went into that level that Ousmane Dembele went ahead to obviously score that goal to level up the game. And no other goal crossed the line. You know that very well. And it shows you that in open play, PSG couldn't break down Arsenal. You understand? But after that, 120 minutes went ahead to obviously fall off. And after they fell off, we went to penalties. Now, penalties, anyone can miss a penalty. That is it. Anyone can miss a penalty. But I think one of the problems that Mikel went ahead to do is to hand a penalty to a player like Gabriel Magalhaes. In training, he would have gone ahead to be good at shooting penalties. But this moment, I think Zubimendi, Noni Madueke, Julian Timber, Um, I think those three would have gone ahead to serve a better purpose when it came to obviously taking penalties. That is it. So, but I won't blame anyone for the final. That is it. Because what Arsenal did and played and reached into that region of what we call the penalties, that's what Arsenal could do. That's what they would do. That is it. PSG played the better game of football, but that doesn't downplay the efforts of a club known as Arsenal. Really, Arsenal put out a fight, and that fight was really genuine. And I think that it's really one of those fights that you guys have gone ahead to obviously give a lot of respect for. And PSG obviously went ahead to defend the Champions League, and they really did. Now, there are records that have been broken, but I think that has not been broken. I don't think that Arsenal were beaten. According to me, they are not beaten. They are beaten in the penalties, because in the entire 90 minutes, Kai Havertz has never scored and Arsenal lost a game. That is it. That is in the entire 90 minutes. And indeed, he scored, and they couldn't obviously do the needful. But in the last 11 Champions League finals, a team that went ahead to score first had gone ahead to obviously win the Champions League. This time around, a team that scored first went ahead to lose the Champions League trophy to a team known as PSG that went ahead to score second. You get? So that's another stat that most of you need to obviously come up and really pay a lot of attention to detail too. But obviously, it is one of those days that Arsenal fans have to come out and obviously appreciate. But for me, Kivisha Kvaratskhelia, to me, he's the best player in the world. And all eyes, many were like, Vitinha, Ousmane Dembele, Desire Doe, and I'm like, guys, the man who has gone ahead to change that PSG side goes by the names of Kivisha Kvaratskhelia. And I've always said this, that last season, in the table stage, to it that the club of Arsenal went ahead to beat PSG by 2-0 at Emirates. You get? And they never had Kivisha Kvaratskhelia. But when Kivisha Kvaratskhelia came in through, you understand, a lot of things went ahead to happen, And obviously, you saw what went ahead to happen, He's the guy that turned down everything. You understand? So, put respect on that guy's name. But there are stats that you guys need to know that went ahead to be registered in that particular encounter that I think will make perfect sense. We do have Kai Havertz is the only second player to start a Champions League final for two different English clubs after Ashley Cole, who started for Arsenal in 2006 when they are playing Barcelona and they lost 2-1. And then he started a Champions League final in 2008 for Chelsea when United beat him on penalties. Kai Havertz is the only second player to start a UEFA Champions League final for two different English clubs. That is it. English, guys, mind that name, because one will say, I saw Neymar start a Champions League game, a final for Barcelona and PSG. We are talking about English clubs in particular, right? We are discussing English clubs, right? Then, the other stats that you need to know about this particular encounter is that only 3 players have scored in the UEFA Champions League final for two different teams. Kai Havertz has scored for Chelsea and Arsenal. Cristiano Ronaldo for Manchester United and Real Madrid. Ronaldo, 2008, it was a header against Chelsea. And for Real Madrid, he scored multiple times in the final. And Mario Mandzukic for Juventus and Bayern Munich. So, Kai went ahead to obviously register those stats, and they really did him well as a player in there for you. So, from there, we go to another stat, and this is all provided to you by Opta. They're telling us that Arsenal have only lost one of the last 117 games across all competitions in which they've led at halftime. So that is 101 wins, and those have been 15. PSG haven't won any of their last matches this season when they've trailed at the break. You understand? If PSG trail at the break, it's very hard for them to come up and obviously get the game back to where it's supposed to be. So those are stats that you guys need to know in there for you. And another one comes in through that PSG, right? PSG are only the third side ever to win both their league title and the UEFA/Champions League back-to-back seasons. Real Madrid in 1956 and 1957, 1957 and 1958, Ajax in 1971, 72, and 1972, 1973. So it's the third side. It's really a very huge achievement for the side of PSG, and much respect to Enrique and his side in there for you. So they edged Arsenal, and here the Champions League finals in there for you. Then the other one, you know, because Opta went ahead to obviously give us many of these. Arsenal remain the team with the most games in Europe / UEFA Champions League history to never lift the trophy. So Arsenal is that side that has gone ahead to play very many games, and they've not gone ahead to obviously win the trophy. But I think they are close. And I remember this is how teams that haven't gone ahead to obviously win the Champions League really look. You know, let me give you an example. Chelsea had never lifted the Champions League. They first played their Champions League final against Man United in 2008. They are versing a side known as Man United that had won the Champions League in 1999, and it had lifted the Champions League, I think, was it 3 times in there for you. So United had a pedigree and it took it, you get? But when it came to 2012, because Chelsea knew the experience that they went in through, they lifted the Champions League and beat Bayern Munich. You understand? They beat Bayern Munich in there for you into that final. They again, nine years later, they found Man City. Man City played in their first UEFA Champions League final in 2001. You remember that very well. And they lost to a team that had won it 9 years back. Now, in 2022-2023 season, you know what happened. The side of Man City went ahead to obviously win the Champions League, and they went ahead to beat Inter Milan, who had won it multiple times. But remember, they had done it. And by the way, in the history of the Premier League, in the Champions League, no team has ever gone ahead to win the league for the first time. They've gone ahead to play in the final when they've never gone ahead to win it. You understand? And in most cases, on the second occasion, that's when they obviously come in through and win the final. You know that very well. So, kudos to the club of Arsenal for what they went ahead of put out in there for you. I think to Arsenal with the Premier League trophy in there for you, right? And with the Premier League trophy in there for you, and a Champions League final, that's not bad business for the club of Arsenal. That's not bad business. And they've put out the fight, and that fight has been genuine. It is really one of those fights that I've gone ahead to rate highly. You know, when you're playing against a team that is good, you know, and one of the best teams in Europe, obviously, you need to obviously respect them. And I think that's what Arsenal went ahead to do. They gave the people the respect they deserved, and they've lost on penalties. And I've gone ahead to see Thierry Henry say that penalties, you don't blame anyone on a penalty, because even those that we think don't miss penalties, when such moments have gone ahead to rise, they've gone ahead to obviously lose penalties and miss penalties. We saw David Beckham miss out a penalty in the Euros. I think that was 2004. We saw Ronaldo miss a penalty in the Champions League final 2008. You understand? We've seen many. You know, Shevchenko, when Liverpool won the Champions League in Istanbul, Shevchenko is one of those that went ahead, obviously miss a penalty, but Shevchenko had been the regular penalty taker for AC Milan, and was one of those players that you could bet on to obviously do the needful. I saw Trezeguet, you know, when was it? Was it in the World Cup? You know, I think Trezeguet is the one who missed the penalty, and Italy went ahead to win the World Cup when they're playing against France, you know. So many players have gone ahead to obviously miss penalties. I saw Justin Kluivert in the Euros, was it 2004? 2000, you know. I saw Trezeguet, you know. I saw Justin Kluivert for Netherlands, you know. I think he missed 2 penalties. He missed 2 penalties in the full 90 when they're playing against Italy, and Toldo saved all those penalties. So I want to let you know that missing a penalty is really one of those things that you cannot blame someone for. And lastly, losing on penalties is what we call putting out a fight until the last whistle. Not so? Arsenal's possession averaged 24.7 was the lowest by a team in the UEFA Champions League final on record since 2003-2004, as well as their lowest in any match under Mikel Arteta, where they had 11 men on the pitch throughout. So that is something that Arteta needs to work on, obviously, and that should be worked on according to the players that Arsenal is obviously going to be bringing on. That is it. Which players will Arsenal bring onto the field of play? That is really very important, especially in the summer transfer window. And that's why I've told you that Arsenal should mind on bringing in players to obviously elevate the team. That's what I think they should do. And I think that's why they're looking at Julian Alvarez, Kivisha Kvaratskhelia, Elliot, Fernandez, and very many others to come in through that club. Then Gabriel Magalhaes is the first player to hit a penalty over the crossbar in the UCL final penalty shootout since Milan Sanguinho in 2005 versus Liverpool. It was the first penalty the Brazilian had ever taken for Arsenal. Unfortunate. And moments like these, obviously, are very regrettable. And I knew the pressure was huge on him. That is it. Huge on him. And he really went in for that. But I know he will recover from it, because such a situation can really ruin the career of a player totally. If you know such moments, they ruin careers of players. You remember, I support Man United. Euros 2004, Portugal versus England. Was it the quarterfinal? Ronaldo, I think, was responsible for sending off Wayne Rooney off the pitch. You know, the fans of England went ahead to attack Ronaldo, and everyone was like, Ronaldo won't really get his head back because these are teammates at Man United. But when they returned, I think Ferguson found a way of really giving them the best of the best, and indeed, it resulted into one of the best formations in the world. That formation, that attack pairing was really out of this world. Now, another one by Enrique. This is why he's a genius. Only Carlo Ancelotti 5 has now won more European Cup, UEFA Champions League trophies than Luis Enrique. The Spaniard also has the highest win percentage of any manager with 50-plus games in the UEFA Champions League history. 63.3% in there for you. So, PSG, obviously, are champions. But for Enrique, for every Champions League final he has managed, he has won it. You remember when they beat Juventus at Barcelona, when he had Messi, Neymar, and Suarez, and the two he has gone ahead to play when he's at PSG. He has gone ahead to obviously win all of them. So that is a man known as Luis Enrique in there for you, putting out a very huge shift in there for you. But for me, what do I urge the side of Arsenal? One, sign in players that are really press resistant. You saw what Kai Havertz brought on the field of play. Leandro Trossard, to me, those are my two best players in that final. That's what they brought up on the field of play. It was really out of this world, and it really made a lot of sense. You understand? Then, from there, you can talk about the midfield. You know, this is why Arsenal needed Sandro Tonali, because all of Matthias Fernandez, because of what he offers on the field when he's really having that ball. So it is really very, 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 very unfortunate that Arsenal's gone ahead to lose, but they've gone ahead to win. The Premier League and the trophy parade is happening in 28 minutes from now. And for everyone who's been part of this video, Arsenal fans, you're not here to be seen. You know why? I don't know where you are hiding from. No one in the live chat yet. You are watching it through. You are still mourning for this, but that's the game of football for you. And there are always winners and losers in the game of football. And don't feel like what has gone ahead to happen to you is really bad. It's what defines the game of football. There is always a winner and a loser. Not so? So, let's obviously see how things will pan out in the next coming season. But you're heading the summer transfer window. World Cup starting 11 days from now. So please warm up for the World Cup, and I think we're obviously going to be having a busy summer transfer window for Arsenal and very many other teams, because when you look at Arsenal, they might bring in like 5 players. Chelsea, they want to bring in like 6. Manchester United want to bring in like 6, 7, you know. Man City, the same thing, because they're losing very many defenders. So the summer transfer window is obviously going to be up and running in here for you. So for the viewers of this channel, thank you for watching it through. Rokani David remains my name. I'm out. Bye-bye, and see you later. But I've gone ahead to see some people talking about the penalty calls. Guys, Noni Madueke and Nuno Mendes, you know. Now, let me ask you. By the time, you know, Mosquera went ahead to foul Kivisha Kvaratskhelia to get a penalty, he was on a yellow card. And that is a bookable offense. Having a yellow card, the referee would have gone ahead to obviously present a second yellow card and would have gone ahead to be shown a red card. You know, you are not talking about it, Arsenal fans. So, I think the referee went ahead to officiate that game very well. Very, very, very well. Because after Arsenal went ahead to score the first goal, do you know how many times they wasted time? Until when he went ahead to obviously flash out a yellow card to Mosquera. That is it. And in this summer transfer window, Arsenal should get a decent right back, because you saw to it that when Timber came in through, he closed down Kivisha Kvaratskhelia. You understand? So, all what they should do is that they should bring in a right back who can obviously match the levels of that guy known as Kivisha Kvaratskhelia. You understand? Sorry, known as Julian Timber. And right backs are there. Demafries is being wanted, is on the market. Pedro Porro, I know Spurs cannot tell you. You know, there is Livramento, you know, and very many other good right backs. So they should get in a right back who should come in through and obviously fit into those boots of Ben White, because I think Ben White and Arsenal, it is over. That is it. And the other factor that I think Arteta got wrong for me is not playing a player called, what's his name? Not playing a player called Gabriel Jesus in the final. I think he deserves some minutes. Where Arsenal was, they needed a player who could improvise. And Gabriel Jesus is the king of that. Scoring a goal in the game of Crystal Palace, don't deny him an opportunity in a game like this, because I think he would have gone ahead to obviously give him a chance into that game of football. That is it. So, thank you very much for watching through, but hard luck for the Arsenal fans, and congratulations to PSG for what you went ahead to achieve. That is into that perfect match between you and Arsenal. I'm out. Bye-bye. See you.